Please, can I get on my oh my god.
You got it, you got it.
Oh,
Yes, there we go. Oh,
not
the crust. Oh, he got the big one. Keem, aka T. Vince McMahon, was like, he had been chasing Amber. Been on all 3 of her fupas. And Amber could afford not to go there. She didn't need to degrade herself. She didn't need to humiliate herself. But when the rules changed just like that, she felt like she has no other option. And that's where Keemstar comes in. And it's like, I'm giving you this opportunity to continue to make money. This kind of rhetoric works on pawns very well because pawns lack perspective. Because essentially what we are dealing with here is the results of eating your way out of the labor market. If you don't subscribe, you will be smacked down by the Lord. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Uhari and this is the place where I love sharing my opinions because I have so many of them, not a lot of people to talk to. So today, just join me as I gab about science fiction. So, I absolutely love science fiction, particularly the show Black Mirror. See, Black Mirror is this show where they basically have different dystopian scenarios that are built in a very advanced tech world. I think one of the cool things about science fiction is that it often presents ideas of technology that could exist. And give it a couple of years, that specific type of technology is suddenly released. And I do think it is because science fiction allows us to enter into the imaginations of other people. We get images and visions we ourselves haven't had because we haven't had those life experiences. But once you encounter an idea that is foreign to you and it mixes with your life experience, something new can be created. Something new was created out of a desolate wasteland that was once a booming Eden for the obese mukbanger. Today, I am going to be talking about an episode of Black Mirror called 15 Million Merits. This episode is set in basically something very similar to The Matrix, if you've seen the movie The Matrix, and you enter into what is very clearly a controlled world. You have these people. You introduce this character, Bing. And Bing is the person whose perspective we are following throughout this episode. So we follow Bing. We see him wake up inside of his room and immediately he is surrounded by a screen. He has to watch ads. If he doesn't, he has to pay a penalty. Isn't that familiar, YouTube Premium? Sorry, I'm just a little bitter because January came and I couldn't afford it. December was so good, no ads. Anyway, we live in the world that we live in. So he has to pay for everything. He wakes up, he's about to brush his teeth. And in order to get a serving of toothpaste, he has to pay money as well. So we follow him, he goes into an elevator, then we enter into this room that is filled with these exercise bikes. And you begin to understand that these exercise bikes are powering something. And as they are riding on them, they're producing some sort of something that is being harnessed. So this is their job. It seems that in this society, once you reach a certain age, you're just allocated labor. We see that Bing has over 15 million merits, right? But we see him be very sparing with how he's using them. And so we see as Bing works hard, and as we enter into this room, we're introduced to other characters. And one particularly interesting character who is going to be the main focus of this video is a guy whose name I didn't catch because I don't think it was mentioned, but we'll just call him Travis. Travis is a overweight but not obese man, but slightly overweight, skinny by American standards. But we see him and we see him on the bike. So while these people are on the bike, there are many different things that they can watch, right? So you flip through different things and you find whatever content you want to focus on as you're riding. You can either watch something or you can play a game, right? There's one woman who's playing the violin, and Travis in particular is watching this show that is basically LOL Cow Live. without the talking. This show centers around the express humiliation of morbidly obese people.
Not hungry. That's a first aid.
So we see that in the room with them is another writer who is overweight, but probably obese. Yeah, he looks more so obese. And Travis looks at him and makes a remark about how he isn't going to last long or something to that regard. And basically, what ends up happening is when you get to a certain weight, you can no longer perform that job. And you are basically forced to be a cleaner. You're kicked out of that rank, and now you're a cleaner. When you're a cleaner, they have this yellow uniform that sticks out, and it is rather humiliating. Travis is very fat phobic, which is funny because Travis himself is slightly overweight. And I think that Travis and his hatred for fat people represents an internalized fat phobia that is also very much present in GORLWORLD and the LCU universe. There are a lot of people who comment on these obese people, morbidly obese people, who are themselves obese or morbidly obese. It starts to be this competition of, I'm big, but I'm not that big, but I'm big, but I'm not that big. And in a way, there is a feeling of comfort. Yes, there is a feeling of comfort, a feeling of reassurance. It's a great way to make yourself feel good about your own deficiencies, your own lack of performance. Because when you look at Travis, he's the second biggest person in the room. He too is on that similar road, but he gets something out of humiliating these fat people. And he spends money to watch these fat people get humiliated. Is that feeling kind of familiar?
Oh my god, I have the anxiety. I'm scared.
I'd say it's not bad, but it's actually way worse than I remembered. So have fun.
I'm gonna do it my own way, okay?
All right, all right.
Wait, it's gonna get on my. I'm so scared. Okay.
You got it. You got it.
Oh,
Yes, I
oh,
said, oh, you
no.
dropped the crust. Holy shit.
Oh, it's a
Full
min.
coverage. Y'all both
Yeah,
got
that's
full
actually
coverage.
really good. That's
Full
actually really good. That's
Full
actually really good. Ah, my eye.
The economy built on the humiliation of morbidly obese people is not something that is new. It's something that you can see as far back as when circuses were a thing. Back when super morbid obesity wasn't something that is this prevalent, back when it was something that was an anomaly, there was money in the traveling fat women that people would come and gawk at, right? The evolution of that became now TLC shows that had the veneer of being educational, but were also centered around the humiliation of morbidly obese people. You can see it from the angles that My 600-Pound Life uses. They will purposefully place the camera at an angle which just makes people look bigger than they actually are, which is crazy because they're already very big people in My 600-Pound Life. But even the existence of such a show proves that there is money, not just, I guess, in the humiliation of morbidly obese, but a fascination with their existence as to how they do different things that to able-bodied people are just not even things you think about. So because people such as myself tuned in to shows such as My 600-Pound Life, they kept on being made. And because of people such as myself, GORLWORLD, which is this universe of reactors and morbidly obese women created this world built around basically Amber and Foodie Beauty. Rosie has recently kind of been expelled. But them and the reactors, the fact that people like me subscribed to reactors and wanted to listen to them talk about these morbidly obese women made it so that this became an actual booming economy. And thus we had these two women at the center, and they were raking in money for just being super morbidly obese and a mess, and us just being privy to it. YouTube absolutely loved it, saw the money that was in it, and really pushed it, made it a proper community, played a huge part of it, monetized all of it. And then one day, just like that, the money was cut off. And the center of GORLWORLD, Amberlynn Reid, was demonetized. This is something that is shown in this episode of Black Mirror that was filmed in like 2010 or something, because it was released in 2011. But what happens is the morbidly obese guy who is on the bike making electricity or whatever it is that they're making, he ends up being too obese and is kicked out of that area of work and has to become a cleaner. And we have Travis, who is very happy about this, happy that this person has essentially lost their means of income and has come into a lower place in society. There are a lot of Travises in this community, because a lot of people, admittedly myself included, were like, who just lost their means of money, who's not going to be rewarded for their negative behaviors anymore. So now we have this guy, let's call him Randy. Randy is now a cleaner because Randy has become super morbidly obese. But this is not the last we see of Randy.
Ooh, nice outfit. Suits you.
In the final scene of the episode, we see Travis on his bike, and he's watching this show that he loves, where fat people are humiliated. And then he sees Randy.
We have with us Oliver. Now, Oliver was bumped to cleaner 6 months ago, but he ate and ate till he hit 17 stone, and he's here today to try and beat us on Bubblegum! Out he goes, a big one!
Randy is there to be humiliated for money. And what the host says is that Randy, used to work and he was a certain weight, he was let go, and then he ate more so that he could be on the show. So Randy purposefully gained weight because he saw that there was money in monetizing your own humiliation. And this is where we are right now with Amberlynn Reid. This is where I want to enter into like the direct comparisons. Because essentially what we are dealing with here is the results of eating your way out of the labor market. When you can no longer offer society your labor because of the weight that you have reached due to life choices. When your options start to be restricted for the things that you can do to survive, your sense of self, your identity, it's put to a test. How far are you willing to go to get what you want without changing? So we have Amberlynn Reid, who has now been expelled from the labor market for years, but she had this niche in YouTube. But because of reasons beyond her control, her behavior is no longer monetizable on YouTube. So we come to the end and we see Randy on this show having gained weight to be on here to stand a chance to make a lot of money. And that's where Amberlynn enters in. Amberlynn Reid has made cumulatively over the years hundreds of thousands of dollars being a super morbidly obese mess and being reinforced for that. But when the rules changed, all of a sudden, the thing that had made her all this money was the thing that was keeping her from even just making a livable wage. Now, Amberlynn finds herself in this position. What is she going to do? Is she going to change? Is she going to look at the world and say, I want to participate again. I am going to make myself useful to the world in a way that doesn't destroy me. I can be like other people. Perhaps I won't make a lot of money. I won't be able to live the life I've been living. I won't be able to spend $10,000 on croc charms and other knickknacks that mean nothing. I won't be able to do any of those things anymore. So you can either accept the fact that you have made decisions that have put you in a position of desperation, a place that's not good for anyone to be. Or Double down on some fucking humiliation. Come on now. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Enter LCU.
Listen, you guys think that the LCU had drama before? Just wait.
This is my beautiful portrait of Amberlynn Reed.
What is the LOLCOW Live universe? The LOLCOW Live universe. I'm gonna explain it to you in the way that my brain processes things. So basically, it's like WWE, but for LOLCOWs. And what happened was Timu Vince McMahon, aka Keemstar, saw the money that was in the monetization of the humiliation of fat people. He saw how obsessed people were with just watching these people just drag themselves in the mud. And he thought to himself, what if I could make money somehow? And he did. Actually, honestly, impressive, right? For me, it's just like, okay, I like to see people succeed. I like to see creators do something different. I'm not a fan of Keemstar, mainly because I've never really had a reason to interact much with his content. Back when he was like dramaing or whatever, and now he's LCUing. So that's the first thing. I'm like, hey, cool. I love it when people are adaptable. You have got to be adaptable within the creator economy. Because here's the thing, you can either be a creator or you can be a pawn. And a pawn is somebody who is used by the algorithm to make money. And the minute they're no longer useful, they're dropped just like that, Amberlynn. But when you're a creator, you can kind of move ahead of the current. See, what creators can do is they don't just shape themselves according to the algorithm. They do something that steers the algorithm in their direction. They carve a new route for that money to go. And then YouTube is like, whoa, and then it starts pushing out those videos. And then there's the money. And creators do that. They come up with different trends, different forms of content. We went from story times to people who capitalized on the pranks, to people who started doing those predator catching videos, to social catfish, just doing catfish, but like on YouTube. So many times somebody does something, other people notice and they follow. That's the side you want to be on with the creator economy. Because that's a person who can bounce back. That's a person who can be resilient. So with that regards, I think, well done, Timu Vince McMahon. Secondly, he did something. He brought together Boogie, annoying person, Wings of Redemption, annoying person. It was funny when Amberlynn said she liked Wings. You know what Wings of Redemption did at the previous Fat Camp? He hit his wife. So I guess it makes sense why Amber loves Wings now, doesn't it? Anyway, back to Amber's crush, Keemstar. So Keemstar decided, you know what, I can actually do something here. And now there is this thing called a LOLCOW universe. Just kind of compartmentalize these people and make something solid. And he basically capitalized on the fact that these people all have severe mental issues with regards to particularly their emotional regulation. A lot of them have personality disorders. And because of that, they are very entertaining to watch, but cannot really sufficiently package themselves. For example, Amberlynn lost her way out of moneyhood. That's one way of putting it. And then Keem, aka Timu Vince McMahon, was like, he had been chasing Amber. Been on all three of her fupas. And Amber could afford not to go there. She didn't need to degrade herself. She didn't need to humiliate herself. But when the rules changed just like that, she felt like she has no other option. And that's where Keemstar comes in. And it's like, I'm giving you this opportunity to continue to make money. This kind of rhetoric works on pawns very well. Because pawns lack perspective. They follow what's in front of them, which is money, right? But in reality, whatever money Keemstar may have flashed in front of Amber is nothing compared to the money she could potentially make had she decided to adapt herself to her situation, had she decided to move platforms. I think that Twitch is not the future of Gore World. I see a lot of creators, reactors, and Foodie Booty and the other one alike going to Twitch. That's not the future of Gore World. I think that Rumble is a great place for Gore World because Amberlynn and Foodie Booty and even reactors wouldn't need to change up how they do things. In fact, they could be more of themselves because the cool thing about Rumble is that they just secured like a contract with like a bunch of advertisers. They pay a little more than YouTube, especially if you make your content exclusive to them, so you're not putting it on any other platform. You don't have to go through a trial period. You don't have to audition. You don't have to get a set number of watch hours or subscribers like YouTube does. Please subscribe, by the way. Watch some of my other content. I am like a couple hundred hours away from being eligible for like the first degree of like partnership, because they split it. Like now, if you have 3,000 watch hours and over 500 subscribers, you can do like super chats and memberships. And then when you get to, I think, 4,000 hours and 1,000 subscribers, then you're like proper monetized. So I would love it if you guys check out more of my content and subscribe. But let's get back into it. Rumble, on the other hand, wouldn't have me go through all these hoops. Okay, they wouldn't. It's just that the algorithm is currently steered very conservative and white and kind of racist. But I just think that there is nothing that racist people hate more than when Black people and gay people move into their neighborhoods. So I feel like it's my obligation to talk more of my people, brown and sorts, to move there because A, there's better money, B, you can be yourself. You don't have to talk about serious topics and censor yourself. The advertisers that are there know what they're paying for. And YouTube uses children as a way to censor people because they don't want us to talk about certain topics. It just is what it is. On Rumble, there is no facet of it that's like your child should be here, so you can say whatever. I feel like if the Laughter Bovines, if the Girl World Doll Cows had been like, let's go there, because I see like some reactors opening up a Twitch because they're watching Twitch, then they can open up Rumble and then they can make nice money and realize this place is kind of a dump. I don't like it. I don't like it because I feel like you bring the juice and then they tell you all these things. And it's like, okay, I feel like you're overestimating your value in the market because currently there are other things that do what YouTube does and are desperate for us to just kind of like give them our viewership. So there is that. But places like YouTube and people like Keemstar basically profit off of people's ignorance of their own capacity and potential. But at the same time, what they also do is that they provide structure, which is something that somebody like Amberlynn needs. When you look at, for example, Tammy Slayton, and the reason she has been able to make the transformation she's made, she has been able to do that because essentially TLC has been parenting her since the time they took over, since the time they started 1,000-Pound Sisters. Because of TLC, there was that push to see professionals. There was that push to do this and do that. And so they moved in that direction. No one pushes Amber, and so she doesn't allow herself to be pushed by anyone. That's why I don't think that she could last in the LCU, because she just can't take direction and she has a very fragile ego. Because of that, people like her need business parents, essentially. And predatory people are there to be like, hey, I can give it to you, girl. You can have it all nice and I'll take care of you. But be careful. Be careful with these third parties that pretend to do something for you that you can actually do for yourself. And I think ultimately what comes out of 15 Million Merits is the power that all of those people who are riding the bicycles have. They have the power to transform somebody from just a laborer into somebody who can create whatever it is they want to create, who never has to, again, be there on the energy bikes. And that's what we as the audience do. It's what I'm asking for. Please, for the love of God, pay enough attention to me so that I never have to ride a bike and make money, being useful to the labor market. You could be like, oh, I like the way you see things and you have these really interesting perspectives and I kind of want to listen to you talk more and I feel like maybe you shouldn't have to work. It's a beautiful thing and I hate to see it when people take it for granted. I really do. And I think that Amberlynn and Foodie Beauty did do that to a certain extent. They took for granted just how amazing YouTube has made life for them, how much it took care of them. It plays that business daddy role I'm talking about, you know. The beauty of the creator economy is that the creators have such a power over their audiences that if they came together, they could really teach these corporations a lesson. Or, or, I don't know, people keep changing themselves to adapt to the rules of a narcissistic entity that is taking its creators for granted. Randy, much like Amberlynn, chooses his fate. Instead of gaining weight in order to get on a show so he can humiliate himself at a chance of getting like millions, instead of doing that, he could have taken steps to get back to a place where, yeah, he wouldn't have millions, but he also wouldn't be humiliating himself. Because at the end of the day, I think it's up to us as people who would love to also be monetized for existing, because that's what happens with influencers and creators. We are like, I love that you exist and I want you to keep doing this thing. Miracle, right? Absolute miracle. Something that would be so foreign to my ancestors. So I don't want to take this moment for granted. But I also don't want to lose myself. I've been filming videos now for like 2 years. Yes. And my growth has been slow, but steady. And whenever anybody watches a video of mine, I get a little weirded out. So I'm like, you really sat through all of that and listened to me talk? Ah, that's insane. I don't know you. There's like no incentive. Are you actually enjoying this? Oh my God. You fuck with my personality? That's like the best compliment anybody could ever give you. Sweet, but if you take it for granted and you don't even use it smart and you don't invest, you end up taking pride to the fucking face like a clown.
You got it. You got it.
Oh,
Yes, everybody.
shit.
Oh,
Oh, no.
drop the crust.
On day 3, Evelyn, girl. Wow. How the smug have fallen. The creator economy can either shape you or you can shape it. And people will either follow you because they like gawking at you or because they enjoy you. And if they enjoy you, then you have a chance of having a positive relationship. But if they're gawking at you, you haven't really been chosen to be elevated out of labor as much as you have been chosen to humiliate. So they incentivize you to stay within that humiliation because they know that if faced with a choice between working or self-respect, oh honey, you're not gonna pick the self-respect. They want to know how many things they can push you to do. So beware when monetizing yourself instead of your talent. Beware of making yourself useless to the world except for being there to laugh at. It's not a good place to be. But it sure is fun to watch. So yeah, I've come to my end. Did Black Mirror predict the LCU? I guess no, because the culture of monetizing the humiliation of the morbidly obese predates it. But I think it has a very interesting conversation around it. And I hope that you have enjoyed the conversation I am currently having with you. Thank you so much for watching this. I appreciate you. Again, please like, comment, subscribe, or share if you care. And I will see you next time when I want to talk about something and I can't get my sister to sit through it. I get can only talk so much about these dysfunctional people.
Yeah, that's actually really good. That's actually really good.